Aloha, good evening, everyone, on this pleasant Tuesday night from Highland, Utah. This is Lone Peak Girls Basketball on KSL Sports Rewind, and tonight we bring you a UHSAA special as the Lone Peak Lady Knights continue their quest for a three-peat as they open their home schedule in full against the Layton Lancers. Led by broadcast partners Zach Hunter, Alexander Timilip joining you from the field house. So Zach, I turn to you. The first thing I say is, we talked with head coach Nancy Warner for Lone Peak before the game. She said she wants to see the little things improve day after day. What should we expect from this LP team tonight here in their second game of the year?
Well, obviously, Alex, you know that Lone Peak can perform at a high level. And so, yeah, what was interesting for me talking with Coach Warner was that, yes, it is the little things. It's nothing definite. We need to see this A, B happen. It's a lot of little things she wants to see improve tonight. And just really to see a range of plays made from a lot of different players on the roster.
And we'll see a lot of those playmakers here tonight in this game. But on the other side for Layton, they're coming off a tough loss last week, but there was a huge catalyst on their side for the offense, and she is number 23, Oakley Homer, and she proved she's going to be a menace in Region 1 this year for a lot of teams to defend.
So true, Alex. They need to keep an eye on her definitely throughout this game. Lone Peak knows what to do, but Layton definitely has a sharpshooter.
So now let's get into the Heidemann and Associates keys to the game, presented by the full-service law firm that is fully committed to winning for you, the client. Heidemann and Associates. Zach Hunter, what do both teams need to do to take the W home here tonight?
Yeah, for Lone Peak, they need to control the ball. Last week against the Redhawks, the Knights allowed 5 steals alone from a single player. And so really what they need to do more than anything is to control the ball, control the pass game, and that will give Lone Peak the edge. For Layton, they need to crash the boards. Nordstrom dropped 24 against the Redhawks last week, so it's crucial for the Lancers to get on the board and bring it down.
Jason Clark, Brent Wims, and Larry McKnight, the officials tonight. These two teams, of course, met last year in the UHSAA playoffs in the second round. Lone Peak was victorious in that game, en route to winning their second consecutive state championship. And this is a team that has very high expectations this year. A lot of people think that Lone Peak is the favorite in not only Region 3, but also in the rest of the state. Sarah Bartholomew and Ashlyn Purcell are ready to jump.
Looks like we were waiting for a music to die down for a sec.
It's still Thanksgiving weekend for everybody as Bartholomew wins the tip, and we're off and running here tonight at the Fieldhouse. Here is Kennedy Woolston dribbling down deep, kicking it into the corner. Nordstrom for 3 off the back rim. Bartholomew battling for the rebound, loose on the baseline. And a reset here for LP, fresh 35. Donavasa drives, kicks it back to Nordstrom. And goes inside, and we got a foul on the low block.
Alex, you just see the pace on Lone Peak just moving so fast. Wanting to get to the ball, get to the rim, not afraid to shoot from the outside. It's what Lone Peak is not fearless tonight.
It helps when you have an experienced player like Shawnee Nordstrom on your team. Sarah Bartholomew, nice move to get to the basket, and she banks it in for the first points of the game. Bartholomew had only 5 points in Tuesday's win against Bountiful, but 5 big rebounds. And she was part of that catalyst on defense. As Katie Lawrence here out front, good pressure on the ball there on Conley Santizo. Now gives it up top now to Ebony Davis. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Davis gives it off on the dribble handoff. Shot clock down to 7. Now down to 6. Santizo, somebody's got to put up a shot. And we have a tie-up. Possession will belong to the Lancers, but there's 2 seconds left on the 35.
Looks like the Lancers just got caught up right there in the moment and couldn't find a way into the basket.
That's the thing with Lone Peak. A lot of long athletic bodies to deal with, as this is lobbed close out to mid-court and eventually stolen away by Lawrence. Out of the pack, here comes Kennedy Woolston. She cannot finish. And we got it over the back foul coming back the other way on Naya Tanavasa.
Just a little bit of speed from Woolston, just barely doesn't go in.
Just underway here on this Tuesday night. Alexander Timolip and Zach Hunter joining you from the field house. One of 3 games going on tonight here as boys and girls basketball gets back underway here this season as that bank shot off the glass goes for Ashlyn Purcell, and we're tied early here at 2. Bartholomew matched up against Purcell. You'll hear those names a lot tonight, and that pass into the post is stolen away. First turnover of the game by Lone Peak. Here is Oakley Homer. Homer, little jumper. That doesn't go. Good box out there from Nordstrom. Fight for the rebound, and coming out with it is Tanavasa. Tanavasa speeding up the court. Left-handed banker won't go. Bartholomew, the offensive rebound and put back. Boy, she is so good at doing that. As a steal off the inbound, here's Nordstrom. She puts up the turnaround J, and she hits it.
Wow.
Just like that, 6-2, and that is how quick, Zach, this Lone Peak team can strike. They are very good, and they are deep.
I think that's just what I've seen the difference between the two teams is Layton's taking a very delicate approach to going in and contemplating on where to pass. Lone Peak is very fast to move.
Yeah, they're very athletic, too, as we said, as Nordstrom gets called for the foul. Second called on the Lone Peak Knights. Nordstrom, by the way, who had 24. And talking with Coach Nancy Warner before the game, no big deal, of course. She and Naya Tanavasa combined for 45 of the 68 points that Lone Peak had in that scrappy win against the Bountiful Redhawks on last Tuesday before Thanksgiving. A team that is, of course, Bountiful seemed to be a challenger in 5A this year as Rob Riesbeck calls a timeout. Already 5:23 gone or left here in the first quarter. And I think, Zach, that's a product of what he's seeing probably, is that he's seeing the exact same thing we're seeing, that the athleticism of Lone Peak is getting to them defensively here very early.
Well, really, too, you just don't want your athletes to be wasted in the first quarter, really. Like, you want them to be controlled, and he doesn't want to overburn on easy buckets, right? And so he wants to regroup right here.
Rob Riesbeck in his 6th season of his 2nd stint here at Layton has 46 wins against 63 losses after coming over from Syracuse after originally being the Layton head coach here for the first 2 years of his career. So out of the timeout, here is Layton. Santizo against Nordstrom out front, bounces to Purcell. Davis has that pass go through her hands. Here comes Kennedy Woolston. Nice pass to Lawrence going through. That doesn't go. But Woolston comes out of there with the rebound and a fresh 35. Into the block. Here's Bartholomew left-handed. That doesn't go. Fight for the rebound. Where is it going to go? And the umpire says it's going to the blue shirts.
The physicality of the game so far, Alex, is what stood out to me. Just ball is flying everywhere. And Bartholomew is just involved in everything.
Kennedy Casper comes into the ball game probably to get more size in the post there for the Lancers. Davis trying to bounce that one to Homer, and it gets stolen away. Already the 4th turnover here for Layton. Shovel into the corner. Nordstrom for 3. And she's already got 5 here.
They finally found that corner shot, Alex, after a couple attempts in that corner spot right there.
And another turnover as Lawrence now sprinting ahead of the pack with it. Lawrence this time goes in and finishes. So it took a bit for Lone Peak to find their footing, but it appears they're finally getting their groove here as we're halfway through this first quarter. Alexander Timolip and Zach Hunter with you here at the Fieldhouse on this very chilly Tuesday night. Outside, of course, not inside. That ball's poked away. Down low, it'll stay here. Shuri Nordstrom comes into the ball game, and Kaylee Rich does as well. Meanwhile, Lindsay Horn comes in for the Lancers, who are wearing the blue uniforms tonight, and lettering and numbering appears to be in the style of the old Utah State uniforms when they were under Stu Morrill, the legendary head coach of the Aggies, as we got a shot clock violation against Layton.
And that's what you were just pointing out to me earlier, Alex, is this addition of the shot clock. You know, it's still, people still getting used to.
Yeah, last year was the first year the entire Utah high school landscape embraced the shot clock, and there were some adjustments, let's just say. Nordstrom, nice floater off glass and in. Well, she can just score in so many diverse ways. She's got 7 of LP's 13 as they're up 13-2, a 9-0 spurt here by the Knights. Layton, meanwhile, has not had a field goal in over 6 minutes. And they've turned it over now 6 times in those last 6 minutes. Tanuvasa lobbing ahead for Nordstrom. Nordstrom back for Rich. And she gets it stolen away. Battle for it, though. Gets stolen away by Woolston, who goes in and lays it off the glass.
Wow, that was almost back-to-back steals on both ends right there.
Layton's scoring drought now approaching 7 minutes. 13 consecutive or rather 11 consecutive points here by the Knights until that little layup right there on the nice back cut from Caitlin Spenlove. That breaks the drought and the scoring run, and Layton has their second field goal of the ball game.
I'm sure that's what the Lancers want to find more of, is just calm, collected to the basket. It's what's going to get them over the edge here.
Nice backdoor cut, and the foul! Counted for Kaylee Rich. What a pass by the captain, Naya Tanuvasa.
She was just in the right place at the right time and put it up. It's smart moves like that the Knights do that puts them above everyone else.
Nordstrom will take her first rest. And, we talked with Nancy Warner before the game as Kaylee Rich steps to the free throw line here, Z, that it must be a luxury to have Tanuvasa and Nordstrom still on the team from last year. And that team was also loaded with the likes of Kaylee Woolston, who's now at BYU and also was named Big West Freshman of the Week, as her sister Kennedy knocks down that wing three. We talked about how much of a luxury it is to have 2 experienced players like Tanuvasa and Nordstrom on your team with Nancy Warner, Zach.
Well, that's what Coach Warner wanted to see tonight, is she wants to see a range of players show effort tonight. Not just highlight one player, not 2, but a full depth.
Yeah, she always says it's not depth if you don't use it, as Homer launches her first shot. She misses. Tanuvasa sprinting ahead. Here she goes. This is what she does. And she lays it in off the glass. And she's now on the score sheet as Lawrence gets another takeaway. The 8th takeaway here in this quarter by the Knights. That wing side 3 won't go. Battle for the rebound in the corner. Tanuvasa was touching the ball as she was on the baseline. So the ball's dead, and it will go back to the Lancers as Bartholomew comes back in, and Tanuvasa will now take her first rest.
That's the thing you see, Alex, is we've seen this a couple times by the Knights that may be some area of focus on, is just not rushing it too much.
They have gotten a lot of transition opportunities here early on, and they've converted most of them, so that's a good point you bring up. But that's the one thing about this Lone Peak team, too, is that they can attack in so many diverse ways, like they do right there inside the out, but that 3 by Woolston doesn't go.
Woolston wanted a piece of that one.
It was a great setup, too, as Casper nearly throws that one away. Homer has an open look, top of the key 3, and she hits. And she's got her first field goal of the game.
And we see some life by the Lancers as time ticks down.
Nordstrom looking in the block. Sarah Bartholomew's been a beast so far, and that continues. She's got 6 already, using that size in the paint. And with the shot
She's so
clock,
controlled, just moving around, being posted up by 2 athletes on the end.
And
just moving around and finding her shot. As we see another three from Layton.
Oakley Homer there gets the three. And I think Nancy Warner can tell that when Homer is hot, the whole team is going, so she's going to call a timeout with 9.7 seconds left here in the first quarter. It's a good time to remind you that the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak girls basketball is presented by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm that is fully committed to winning for you, the client. Call them today at 801-472-7742 or contact them online at utah.law to schedule your free consultation with them, courtesy of the Rewind. Well, Lone Peak got off to a slow start, but they slowly found their footing. They've outscored the Layton Lancers here over the last 6 minutes or so by the count of 20-8. And with the shot clock off with 9.7 to go, they'll have one more chance. Nordstrom's sisters are in here. Zuri, 13, and Shawnee, 3, who has the ball right now on the set. Nordstrom, Shawnee, step back, three-pointer, left it short. And that is the end of the first 8 minutes. So Layton starting to catch fire a little bit from beyond the edge. Oakley Homer with 6 points, but it's Sarah Bartholomew who leads the way on the offensive attack for the Lone Peak Knights, who lead by 14 at the end of 8 minutes here on the Rewind. Welcome back, everyone, to the Lone Peak Fieldhouse. Tomorrow night, it's a battle of 5A contenders as the Cedar Valley Aviators invade Red Hawk territory to take on the Bountiful Redhawks. The KSL Sports Rewind Game of the Week gets going with Dean Stewart. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. tomorrow on your home for the UHSAA KSL Sports Rewind. Alexander Timolip alongside the Salem Hills graduate, Zach Hunter, here at the Lone Peak Fieldhouse, where Lone Peak leads 24-10 over Layton at the end of 8 minutes. The Salem Hills Skyhawks of note, who played Skyridge on last Tuesday. And I'm not going to say any more about that from this point on.
All right, Alex.
Then anyway, here's the start of the second quarter as Kennedy Woolston pops up from down deep. Her three banks in, off the glass. And she's already got 8 for the Knights here. So everybody in the starters column, I believe, has scored.
That's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Warner right here, as we get another stolen basket.
That's already 9 takeaways, by my count, at least for the Lone Peak Knights. A lot of them have come in transition as that little floater goes off the glass and in for Spenlove. Spenlove's got her second field goal. And meanwhile, back down the floor, Bartholomew is there, but she can't finish. And then a late foul is called. Caitlin Spenlove gets called for the shove with the elbow. We should also point out that there's a rule change this year, too, as in women's college basketball, there will be a single 2-shot bonus once a team reaches 5 fouls in any of the quarters. Obviously, we're not there yet.
It's a couple of years.
Yes. Obviously, we're not at 5 fouls yet. We just began the second quarter. But Lone Peak's starters have all scored here to start the second quarter. Sarah Bartholomew has 7. Kennedy Woolston has 8, including 2 3-pointers. And not Naya Tanavas, rather it's Nordstrom, Shawnee Nordstrom, who has 7. Roxy Cooper gets to the paint. Little floater off the blast. That won't go. Rebound catcher by Lawrence. Here comes Nordstrom. Nordstrom charging through traffic. Puts up a wild shot and gets it to go.
She just rammed into the others down there. Step back and then hit it.
She is so tough to defend when she gets going downhill. She's got 9. Shot clock at 15. Here's Santizo, matched up against the much bigger Bartholomew. Now to Spenlove. Shot clock to 10. Layton getting deep into the shot clock again here. 5 on the clock. Cooper now popping out up top. A 3 on the way. That does not go. And the rebound is captured by Lawrence. Lawrence ahead of the pack. He's got Bartholomew down there. Gathers, goes up, banks it off, and goes.
That's the second time tonight, Alex, that we've seen just a Hail Mary of a pass to Bartholomew down low that she makes. She converts.
Santizo out front. Now defended by Nordstrom. Trying to find a pass into the block. That gets taken away. Lawrence with her 4th steal already, and that leads to a run out for Shawnee Nordstrom again.
You can't be upset if you're Shawnee Nordstrom right now. Going 11 on the board.
And another takeaway. Woolston ahead of the pack as Lawrence all the way in off the glass. It's just like clockwork at this point, as Rob Riesbeck has seen enough, and he's going to call a timeout.
Alex, this kind of reminds me, did you ever do the pacer test?
I have never, I have heard about the pacer test.
You know what it is?
Yes.
Well, it's just, for viewers at home, it's where you start at the baseline and you progressively do ladders down the court. And that's what this feels like for both teams right now. With this many turnovers, we're sprinting the court one way and another way, and they're getting a workout in tonight.
And, of course, you have to say, Zach, that these turnovers, I mean, this just shows you just how good this Lone Peak team is defensively, because it's like every time they get a steal, it's like somebody's all the way down the floor in a hurry.
Yeah, they do have a good job of knowing, okay, she's going for the ball. I got to go down low so that I can be there for her to pass to me. And that's just a good job, good coaching, and a good job by all the athletes.
Of course, Nancy Warner, the older sister of former BYU basketball great Zach Zeljas, seeking her 3rd consecutive state title. She won the state title undefeated in 2021-22. And then she won it last year, really going away from the pack with everybody at the end of last season.
Does look like, Alex, that they switched up a few of the guards for Layton.
Yeah, Rob Riesbeck just trying to find some combination to get going here. Oakley Homer has her 6 points already, but the rest of the Layton offense still trying to find some traction. And it's not working right now against this defense that's seemingly getting their hands in every passing lane. Nordstrom goes up. It goes! And the foul! Took the contact from Ebony Davis and put it in off the glass, plus the foul. Lucky 13 points already for Shawnee Nordstrom. That'll be number 2 on Ebony Davis, and she will take a seat.
Shawnee Nordstrom shoots 1.
Nordstrom completes the 3-point play. 5 minutes to go here in the first half. And this game about what we thought was going to be expected coming into tonight. But probably a lot better defensive performance, I think, than a lot of people gave this Lone Peak team credit for, as we got a tie-up down low. Ashlyn Purcell and Jury Nordstrom going for the ball. Both players are okay. And it's a held ball. Possession goes to... They said the Knights, but I think we're going to have the officials come over and try to determine whose ball it actually is. Because I believe we might have already had a jump ball for Lone Peak, so it will be Layton's ball on this jump ball. And Nancy Warner, I think, trying to get some clarification on what happened. It's preseason for everybody. Trip to fame must be hanging over everybody's head just a little bit here on this Tuesday night. Kick out. Here's Purcell. Wide open three. That doesn't go. Offensive rebound, though. It is taken away. Scramble for it. More bodies on the
ground.
Tanuvasa comes up and she puts up a three.
She could have gone down to the hoop there, but she wanted that three, Alex. And she sunk it.
She's got 7 now. Santizo trying to answer back. Way off. Casper for 3. Off the back heel. Going up for the rebound. Battle for it. Bodies hit the deck again. And it's going to be a loose ball foul against Ashlyn Purcell.
One thing that I am happy to see, though, is that every time that there seems to be a jump ball or physicality on the floor, they stop immediately when the whistle's blown, they get back up and they go.
And you also have to appreciate that if you're a Layton fan, to see that, you know, the score obviously is what it is, Zach, but the physicality and the toughness of this team, you saw that a lot against Woods Cross, and that's the reason why this team defensively, a lot of people think could be dangerous this year.
Well, I mean, you see that just a last play where there's 3 Lancers on the court. They're all putting effort in right now.
Yeah, a lot of floor burns being generated on that side as Bartholomew, again, more contact in the post as she was being sandwiched by Purcell, among others. And a foul is called on the reach, and it'll be a inbound underneath the baseline. Foul called on Avery Potter, who started the game, number 34. That's her second. Davis with 2, and now Potter with 2 as Bartholomew hits it, plus the foul. Just went right up over the top and stuck it.
It would be so interesting just to see how many at the end of the night fouls that Bartholomew draws. She's just so good at being there, getting it up, and drawing the foul.
6'2" and long.
Alex, that's just a little bit taller than you.
Thank you. You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
Just had to.
Just a smidge taller than me as Bartholomew completes a 3-point play. She's got 12. Shawnee Nordstrom, by the way, with 13 leads all scorers. And this now the latest largest lead for the Knights. Pass it to the post is deflected out of bounds. It will stay here. Rich couldn't keep her foot off the baseline. Three and a half minutes, clock frozen here inside the field house.
You see Layton just post up on each of the blocks, then shifting around.
Homer looking for a ball screen, now trapped.
No help up there. There we go.
Now finally gets it to Purcell. Shot clock down to 10. Again, Layton getting deep into the clock here. Homer drives, gets the screen, lost control of it though. And she gets bumped from behind, and a foul is called with 2 seconds left on the 35. And the shot clock will reset. Foul called on Bartholomew, her first. Lancers to inbound underneath their own goal. Again, Casper having trouble getting it in, just lobs it to an open spot for Purcell to get it. Trying to dish it down low. Spenlove had to go behind her. And it's taken away by Kennedy Woolston. Rich just lofts it up high in the air for Bartholomew. That time she couldn't control it. Looked like Purcell might have gotten a piece of it. And it comes down to her, and she hands off to Roxy Casper.
It's just very interesting to see the difference of how does Layton stack up against Lone Peak when it comes to making plays. It's very controlled on Lone Peak's part, but Layton, when they have the ball, they do go down to the very end of the shot clock. They do get that time of possession in.
Hadley Collier comes in now for Layton. Lawrence Shawnee Nordstrom, among others, comes in for Lone Peak now with 2.5 minutes to go. Here comes Lawrence. She wants to run. Nordstrom, pull up 3. Off the mark, fight for the rebound, spins off a hand. Where's it going?
That was about 2 steps back from the 3 as well, Alex. That she was not afraid to pull up from deep.
Yeah, showing the same touch that her predecessors, McKaylee Ika and Kaylee Woolston, had last year. Homer, turnaround, pull up from 20 feet. That doesn't go. Bartholomew gets bumped, grabs the rebound, and hands to Tanuvasa. She'll start the offense. Kennedy Woolston for 3. Off the back rim. Tanuvasa chases down the long board. She gets an open look, though, in the corner and sticks it. Roxy Casper now running the other way. A lot of numbers coming back for Layton if they saw it. Off-court swing comes to Collier. Lawrence hits the floor. And then Bartholomew gets the block, but then
looks like there's some disagreement about whether that was ball or not, but
I think it was on the landing. I think it was on the landing. They called her for the foul on the landing zone. They didn't give her enough space. She got the block, but unfortunately didn't close out clean enough. And of course, Doug Jardine, a longtime UHSAA official, shakes his head in disbelief at that one. Because, of course, Zach, there were no such things as landing zone area fouls back in the day.
Back in the day. Yes, Alex, prior to our day.
Prior to our day,
yes. There
were no such things as that, as Collier makes both free throws. Approaching the final 90 here of the first half. Lone Peak in control. Katie Lawrence to the basket. She gets swatted away by Purcell. And then she gets it knocked off her last, and it'll go back to Layton.
That just adds to your point earlier, Alex, about the defense of Layton. They're consistent. They get that swat, they get the ball.
And on the other end, we got a blocking foul called against Kennedy Woolston. She got in the way of Collier. I believe that is now the 15th foul on Lone Peak. And it's actually the 4th, so one more and the Lancers will be in the bonus. But before that, we have a timeout by Nancy Warner. Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak girls basketball is presented all season long by Heidemann and Associates. It's also presented by Igloo Outfitters, the coziest wearable sleeping bag that has you covered during the chilly days and nights. Go to igloooutfitters.com and enter the code REWIND for 20% off your next order. That's IGLU outfitters.com. And with football season ending, we obviously don't need Igloo Outfitters, but I'm sure Jeff Hansen would love a few more in his house. Alexander Timolip, Zach Hunter here at the Fieldhouse with 90 seconds left, and Layton with the possession after the timeout.
One thing that I mentioned to you about coming to Lone Peak for the first time for me, Alex, is that you see, I mentioned earlier, there's stands on both ends.
Yep.
And during the boys' game, you say this place gets intense.
Oh yes, it really does. It does get very loud in here during the boys' games as the officials are checking to make sure the foul counts are correct. Remember, Lone Peak will put Layton in the bonus on the next foul. Remember, at 5 fouls in the girls' game now, it goes directly to two shots from the line. There is no more waiting until 10 fouls or 7 fouls or any of that nonsense.
Good defense by Tanuvasa there.
Inbound comes into Homer. New 35 here. That pass deflected. Tanuvasa gets another steal. Here's Lawrence out of the pack. Lawrence back to Tanuvasa. Sets, fires. Can't connect on the 3. Nordstrom, the offensive rebound. Goes back up off glass. That won't go. And the rebound is captured by Purcell. She's being swarmed down low by the white shirts. Now Casper comes out of there with it. Lobs it ahead for Homer. Approaching a minute to go. Swing comes across to Purcell. She can't control it. And with 1 minute to go, Casper will settle it down. And a hard frozen rope pass goes in between the wickets.
That was a laser of a pass down there, Alex.
Sure was. Oakley Homer had to go right between her legs, but Tanuvasa kicked it out of bounds, so it'll stay here with 53-6 left here in the quarter. Almost another turnover. Rich sliding on the floor for it. She gets it. Now here comes Lawrence. Up ahead for Nordstrom. Nordstrom cutting. Woolston fires up a hook shot that doesn't go. Fight for it on the baseline. It's a held ball. And possession will stay with LP with 37.9 officially on the clock here in the first half.
If you notice, Woolston after that shot goes, yeah, I don't know what I was doing there.
Conley Sartizo in, Homer out for Layton. Shawnee Nordstrom leads all scorers with 14 points. Naya Tanuvasa that time banks it in. And she is into double figures now with 11. Santizo couldn't control that pass. Now gets into the corner. Back to Purcell. Shot clock has been disabled here with 20 seconds left. See if Layton can put together one more offensive possession. Casper drives, puts up the floater. That's short. Offensive rebound again. And a foul is called with 8.9 left here in the period. And so that will put Layton in the two-shot bonus here with 8 seconds left. Foul called against Rich, her first, team fifth. And that will put Lindsay Thurgood at the line. Thurgood's first shot on the way is short. One more coming for Lindsay Thurgood. Lone Peak leading by a considerable margin here.
Right now, Alex, they just want any points they can get as one goes down.
Final 8 seconds. Here's Nordstrom with 5. Nordstrom driving with 2. 1 puts up the shot, blocked. And that is it for the first 16 minutes. So, Zach, it's about gone, I think, as we expected it would be. Lone Peak, very aggressive here, going after the ball early and often. But give credit to Layton. Their defense, despite the scoreline being where it is, has held up pretty well here through the first 16 minutes or so.
Yeah, and that's what I'm starting to see, too, is that the defense from Layton is definitely the thing that they have going for them right now. I am excited to see from Lone Peak that they're spreading a little bit across the board the points, with Woolston already having 8 on the board with her only 6 last week. That's exciting to see.
So all 5 starters for the Lone Peak Knights have scored in double figures. Shawnee Nordstrom 14, Tanuvasa 11. And it has been a first half largely dominated by LP, taking advantage of their opportunities off of their takeaways. And they lead 51-15 here at the intermission. We'll be back here with the second half in just a few moments. You're watching Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak basketball. Ready to start the second half of action here at the Field House. Alexander Timlip and Zach Hunter here for Lone Peak girls basketball on the Rewind presented by Heidemann and Associates. So, Zach, I turn to you, and the story of the first half was takeaways, and a lot of them for Lone Peak. I mean, if Peter Piper went through the pepper patch, I think he would have more than a single pick picked out at this point. That's how many times that they got turnovers in that first half. I don't know what I just said, but
I think it was great. I think we need more metaphors like that, Alex. That is great.
What was that I just said?
I love it. You know what? What I got from that was that there were so many turnovers that Lone Peak caused in that half. It just felt like every time that Layton was going down the court, Alex, that they would pick up the ball and then they'd immediately just lose it on that pass. Lone Peak did such a good job of in transition, switching the ball, getting to the hoop, and that's what really has made the difference in this game. We're 51-15, and most of those have come from turnovers.
And Doug Jargine just put it up on the screen for all of those at home, following Naya Tanuvasa around. Tanuvasa and Nordstrom, again, leading the way in scoring. And all 5 starters are in the book for Lone Peak. But Tanuvasa, Nordstrom, and Kennedy Woolston had the bulk of those takeaways in the first half.
And that's really what you want to be if you're Layton right now, is you just want to regroup, come out of the locker room. You want to say, hey, what's the goal of this game through the end, right? We know that they want to see them go to the hoop. They've done a good job with the points that they do have on the board, Alex, of just posting up around the block and getting some easy baskets. That's what you want to see more of if you're Layton in this half.
So we're set to begin the second half of play here in this game. Bring you up to date on the Copper Hills game going on down the road. The boys team also playing tonight for Layton, and they're up 49-34 on a Copper Hills team that is largely being looked upon as a retooling team right now. Of course, many of you know that they lost their leading scorer, Logan Whitehour, to the transfer portal. He transferred to Dixie. And so Coach John Watkins trying to find some offensive recuperation, if you will, trying to recuperate the loss of Whitehour, who was such a key part of the last 3 years. As another turnover goes out of bounds, it'll go back to LP.
That's not something you want to see, Alex, if you're Layton right now. You just want to dismiss what just happened and go back to what you talked in the locker room about.
Nordstrom out front. Tonavasa extra pass. Kennedy Woolston wide open. Bingo! And she won't miss many of those from the corner. And she's into double figures now. She got 11.
You do not want to leave Kennedy Woolston open at the 3.
On the weave, here's Oakley Homer. Homer has 6 points, by the way, all from beyond the property line. Pull-up jumper, that doesn't go, and the rebound is captured by Woolston. As Bartholomew breaking ahead of the pack, finds Katie Lawrence, back to Kennedy Woolston, one more to Nordstrom, she launches for 3, can't get that one to go, Tonavasa all by herself, but she gets blocked underneath. Sneaking up from behind a capper was Ashlyn Purcell, and then she commits the reach-in foul. That is her second, and it'll put Naya Tonavasa on the line to shoot 2. First shot on the way by Tonavasa is perfect. She now has 12. And she had 21 on Tuesday against Bountiful. And they were big points as well, as she misses the second, but Woolston gets the offensive rebound. Bartholomew gets the loose change. Gets it back to Woolston, back to Lawrence, wide open 3. That doesn't go, and the rebound is captured by Layton.
What's interesting to see, Alex, you see there are 4 of the starting 5 right now are in double figures for Lone Peak. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Warner, that you see a slew of points across the field and not just one player, you know?
Foul called on the reach-in, and that's also something that we talked about with Coach Warner before the game, how impressed she was with not only how Tonavasa and Nordstrom are performing there, Zach, but also the rest of the team as well. I mean, you talked about 4 of the 5 starters in double figures tonight. I mean, she keeps hammering it home. It's not depth unless you use it, but
they're using it tonight.
They certainly are using it tonight, and they are making up for it in a lot of diverse ways. As Davis along the baseline, Potter wide open 3, cha-ching!
Almost matched what Woolston did on the opposite end of the court.
That's the first points of the game for Avery Potter. And by my count, I believe that is the first assist tonight for Layton. Nordstrom, tough shot, can't get it to go. It's thrown off out of bounds, and it'll go back to Layton. Under 6 minutes to go here in this third quarter. We'll try to reset the clock here on the next stoppage of play. Davis and Bartholomew hit the floor. More bodies hit the deck. Ball loose on the floor. Still loose. Scrap for it. And we got a tie-up again. And the possession arrow favors the Knights. So that is a turnover de facto. Substitution coming back in. Roxy Casper replaces Cantizo. Conley Santizo, excuse me.
Lone Peak is taking a different approach on this play, being a little bit slower, and then lots of speed, right as I say that.
Nordstrom runs over Davis, but her foot was not on the ground to prepare for the contact, so a blocking foul called against They originally called Roxy Casper for the foul, but I think that was actually Ebony Davis that got called for the blocking foul. Meanwhile, Tanuvasa scores off the nice inbound set. And
you gotta wonder, Alex, if inbound plays is one of those little things that Coach Warner talked about before. Is I want to see those little things come to fruition, and inbound plays might be something that we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, they are the masters of those out-of-bounds plays tonight as Bartholomew hits the floor, has to stay down while Lawrence zooms past her, finds Tanuvasa, fakes once, fakes twice, her shot gets capped, and the rebound is captured by Homer. Rob Respect trying to get his team to push the tempo. Avery Potter now on the outside, matched up against Woolston. Casper kicks it out. Homer, wing side, open three. That doesn't go. Tanuvasa chases down the board. Sprinting ahead of the pack. She could have numbers. Drives down, kicks it back out, and she walked. Or did she? No, she called a time. I think there was a timeout actually called by LP. And it's a full timeout, so we'll step aside and take one with them as well. 4 minutes 20 left here in the third quarter. Lone Peak comfortably in front on this Tuesday night. KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of UHSAA basketball continues on Friday when the Skyline Eagles travel south to take on the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Join Nate Thatcher on the call Friday night at 7 p.m. on your home for UHSAA boys basketball, KSLSports.com. Alexander Timolip and Zach Hunter here at LP Fieldhouse, where the Lone Peak Knights have been comfortably in front from the beginning.
What's interesting for me, Alex, is we said it in the first play for Lone Peak, the Knights are very fast. And we've seen that throughout the duration of the game. There's pretty much been no change in tempo. And really, it showed.
Nice move by Nordstrom, right down Main Street, right to the bucket. She has 16 points now to lead all scorers, as Lone Peak continues to work their magic here this evening. Casper in the block against Woolston, steps back, pull up Jay, hits it. So Layton's starting to find some offensive traction here in this third quarter. With under 4 minutes to go. Tanuvasa gets the screen, drives left-handed, scoop off the glass, won't go. Bartholomew flying in for the rebound. But we are going to get an offensive foul as Bartholomew shoves somebody out of the way to get that rebound. Rich and Zuri Nordstrom in. On the other side, it is Purcell back in for Layton.
Looks like that was Bartholomew's third, so she's going to hit the bench. See if she comes out in the rest of the game.
Yeah, you wonder with the scoreline where it is. You do wonder how long it's going to be before we see the subs get pulled out here for both teams. Purcell, nice move up and under. Wow, what a play. Took a couple of pivots and just scooped it up off the glass.
She was very patient with that shot. She moved until she found that. Zizi Tanuvasa drops one.
And Rob Respect was halfway on the court to call a timeout.
I think the story of this game so far has been turnovers and threes have really made the difference for Lone Peak tonight. Everyone's been shooting. Everyone's gotten a turnover. And it really that's what has swung this whole game in Lone Peak's favor, is those two things.
And Zach, how about this? Naya Tanuvasa and Ashani Nordstrom combined for 45 of the 68 points. They have combined for 33 tonight of LP's points. not to be outdone, Sarah Bartholomew's pitched in with 12 points, and Kennedy Wilson has pitched in with 11 as well. So, like we said, it's those little things that Nancy Warner was talking about. And it seems like one of the little things was to spread the ball around more, and she's mentioned that to us in the pregame, and she's getting that right now from her team.
That, and with Layton right now, what can you imagine would be a goal moving forward through the rest of this game? Like, what do we need to see from Layton as a metaphorical win for them? What is a metaphorical win, would you say, Alex, for them tonight?
Really, I think the metaphorical win has been hanging on their defense and how physical and how competitive and scrappy it is despite the scoreline. I mean, it's really something to see how scrappy this team is. And that's the reason why a lot of people think this team defensively could give a lot of teams in Region 1 fits. As Purcell goes off the glass, that one ejected from the rim. Kennedy Wilson with the rebound. Wilson, Tanuvasa, Nordstrom. Gets a screen from her sister, goes in, little pull-up jumper, that doesn't go, and the rebound is captured by Purcell. Again, a lot of hands fighting for it, and a foul. Foul called on Zuri Nordstrom. That is her second, team third, as we're going to have a substitution here for Layton. Checking back into the ball game, number 20, Taya Pace.
Combination between Purcell and Casper has really, that's what's provided Layton with a little bit of edge in this quarter right now.
Here's Spenlove in the corner off the kick. Little body contact, no call. Back out it goes to the three-point line. Little two-jumper, that doesn't go. Nordstrom cleans up the mess. That's Zuri Nordstrom. Now the long outlet toss here to Tanavasa. Goes all the way in, left hand off the glass and in. She has 19 points in just two and three quarters of the game. Just smooth and effortless. As we get a trip down low against Zuri Nordstrom, and that's going to be her third. That's her third, fourth team foul. Kennedy Wilson in, or Kennedy Wilson rather out on the other side for the Knights. Leif Holdcraft, one of the sophomores, comes in, so you suspect that we're going to see the subs here the rest of the way after this quarter ends as Tanavasa comes out of there with the rebound on the miss. Nordstrom leaves somebody in her wake. Corner here is a jumper. That goes down for Holdcraft. Great find in the corner there from Shawnee Nordstrom.
Holdcraft coming off the bench and getting things done fast.
And this now the latest, largest lead for LP. Davis in the high post. Back out it comes. Dribbling into traffic. 15 on the shot clock. Now going down, that shot off the bottom of the rim. No good, and a foul. Late call. And with 1:15 to go, that's going to put Lone Peak, or rather Layton, in the bonus. And there'll be two shots here. Foul called on Shawnee Nordstrom, her second. Hadley Collier to shoot two here. And that first free throw was no good. The Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak girls basketball is presented all season long by Heidemann and Associates, the full-service law firm fully committed to winning for you, the client. Contact them online at utah.law to schedule your free consultation with Heidemann and Associates.
And what a game for Shawnee Nordstrom. It just was subbed out, putting up all those points and being aggressive throughout the duration of the game. Credit to her and supporting the Knights.
Lawrence off the screen. Back to Tanuvasa. Jab step. Down the baseline. Left Ebony Davis in her wake right there. And a blackjack score for Naya Tanuvasa. She's got 21. Another turnover as Zuri Nordstrom comes out of it. Maybe a 2-for-1 here for LP. Holdcraft lobs it into the block for Rich, and we got a foul. And it's going to be an offensive foul, in fact, on Kaylee Rich for throwing the arm out. That is her second.
Layton to inbound.
With 38 and 3/10 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Shot clock still operating here. Davis drives, takes the bump, foul called on Nordstrom, bodies on the floor. And Ebony Davis will head to the free throw line to shoot 2. Reminder that there will be a mercy rule engaged here in the fourth quarter. Unless Layton gets it to within 14 points, the clock will run continuously and stop only on fouls or timeouts when we start the final 8 minutes. Davis' first shot on the way is off the mark.
You know, Davis has been constantly just in the mix for Layton. Everything positive has really come from her and her willingness to get back up. You just saw it on that foul earlier. She gets hit, gets back up, and gets to the line.
The clock was at 26.2, by the way. That's your favorite number.
That is true.
You being a marathon runner yourself, I can only get about maybe 2 miles in before I start heaving.
Oh, we'll go run sometime.
I hope not. Rich in the paint. Nice dish from Zanavasa to score. As the clock will expire here in the third quarter, the Lone Peak Knights doing exactly what you thought they would do here tonight. They're up by quite a bit here in this one tonight. We'll be back with the fourth quarter in just a few moments here on the Rewind. One more time, I'd like to remind you the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak Girls Basketball is presented by Heidemann and Associates. And we invite you, of course, to join us. We invite you to join us next week this week coming on Friday when Ridgeline comes in to take on Lone Peak. Dusty Litzter has the call starting at 7 p.m. It's part of a 5-game night on our network starting at 4:40 when Arborview battles Lone Peak in the Corner Canyon Tournament of Champions. A loaded basketball Friday starts at 4:30 on the Rewind Sports Network, your home for UHSAA basketball. Alexander Timolip and Salem Hills track superstar Zach Hunter here at the Lone Peak Fieldhouse, where the Lone Peak Knights have led for the duration of this ball game.
Superstar might be a loaded term, Alex, but I'll take it. What I have been surprised is the powerhouse that Lone Peak has really brought to this game, and we see that they've kept in a majority of their starters just to play, just to work things out. As Coach Warner talked about earlier, she wants the girls to play, she wants the girls to click, and that's what we're seeing tonight through the rest of this game.
Potter dribbled it off her foot, but it was kicked into the backcourt by Wolston, so no backcourt. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Davis steps back, long three. That's off the right rim, no good. Shawnee Nordstrom the rebound.
You want to see that level of confidence, though, Alex. You want to see that, especially this late in the game, just to pull up and make that shot. So credit to Davis for pulling up.
Wolston, nice one-hander on the baseline to find Nordstrom. She can't hit the three, though. Wolston, though, wrestling for the ball, comes out of there with it. Nordstrom, reverse layup off the glass. Need we say anything more about that? She's got 18.
Very reminiscent of a Nani Falatea kind of move at BYU, where it just goes over and right into the basket.
6:48 to go here in the fourth quarter. Again, running clock engaged. Stops only on fouls and timeouts here as shot clock goes down to 10. Santizo. Potter. 5 on the shot clock. Davis. Someone got to put it up. Davis just got it away. He gets ejected from the rim, though, and Bartholomew cleans the glass. Lone Peak will go to 2-0 on the season. Layton will go to 0-2 as a nice give and go from Lawrence to Bartholomew. It's all coming up roses tonight for LP.
Again with the speed of Lone Peak, and we see another turnover as Bartholomew intercepts that pass from the Lancers.
Roxy Casper getting set to check back in here for Layton. Nordstrom found herself alone on the free throw line, instead dished it off. Lawrence to the basket. Nice screen from Bartholomew. That little pin down play has worked wonders tonight for LP.
Lone Peak is not letting up on the gas right now. They want to see the ball in the hoop as much as possible.
Here comes Tanavasi the other way. Nordstrom thought about it, floats it up, got it! And LP, I think, has just... And I think Nancy Warner just called her timeout to just call off the dogs right there. I think she might empty the bench on this next timeout to give her team a bit of a breath. It's a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. But, Zach, once again, this kind of just shows you how good this Lone Peak team is and why a lot of people think they're primed for a three-peat this year. They are that good.
Well, and it just goes to show they are in this the whole way. They don't let up at any moment and then go get a bunch of points. They are consistent. They get the ball. They're good on both sides of the court. And that's what's really has set them apart this game is that they are very good on both ends.
And that's part of the reason why they've been so consistent over the past 2 years or 3 years is their ability to have such talent come up through the ranks and perform at such a high level for such a long time. Lob on the block to Potter. Gets it back out the corner. Homer, long three off the right rim. Looked like it was a little bit short. Nordstrom, though, turns it over, and Homer says thank you very much.
They want a turnover of their own for Layton.
Haley Rich now getting set to check back in. You wonder if it's Bartholomew's little curtain call. She misses that one, gets the offensive rebound. What else is new?
Sarah Bartholomew.
16 points for Sarah Bartholomew. That pass goes out of bounds. It'll go back. It'll go back the other way. Clock continues to run here with under 4.5 to go here in the game.
And Shawnee Nordstrom is headed to the bench, and we see she's impacted the game so much, being just reliable at the three and really good in transition. Credit to Nordstrom, head to the bench.
Safe to say she's earned her spot on the rack tonight, as it were. Nice pass from Kennedy Woolston, but Bartholomew could not finish it off. Davis comes up with the rebound. Pushing ahead now, here's Casper dribbling through traffic. Potter back to Davis. Lob on the block. Potter's got the mismatch. Probably should have gone up with that one, but instead, an unfortunate turnover. She just throws it away. Nordstrom back to Rich in the post against Spenlove. Back to Bartholomew.
It's looked like we're seeing a different kind of style of play from Lone Peak in these last few minutes. Trying to pass the ball around the court, get as many passes, touches on it.
Foul call with 3:13 and rolling here in this one. And it's a shot off called on Shuri Nordstrom. That is her fourth. And we are going to have the bench emptied here. Bartholomew out, Naomi Chase in. Taya Pace back in as well for Layton. As Nordstrom, Jury comes up with a takeaway. 1 against 3. Puts on the brakes, goes up, gets capped. And a jump ball is called. Possession arrow remains with LP with 2:33 and rolling here in the game.
You see the disappointment on her face when she went up with that, knowing she wanted that steal basket, but just comes up with the jump ball. Still major credit for getting that.
Cassidy Fredrickson, the 5'6 junior, comes in now. Leif Holcraft is also in, number 23. As Wilson gets it on the return to the corner for 3. Yahtzee! And the blowout continues.
Woolston can't be stopped from that spot on the court. From the first minutes of the game, she was open. And she's just very consistent.
Nice
As you see Layton gets a shot off in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, nice turnaround right there from Collier. As the bench continues to be emptied here for Rob Riesbeck and both sides. Woolston on the backdoor cut. Can't get that one to go. Goes back up strong. And banks it in. Kennedy Woolston now with 16 points. Collier drives. Nice spin move in the post. Puts up the shot. That doesn't go. Offensive rebound. That doesn't go as well. Scrap for the loose ball on the floor. And Kennedy Woolston comes out of there with it. As Nancy Warner will tell Kennedy Woolston to slow it down here with under a minute to go. Probably we'll see one or two more possessions here in this ball game from both sides. Rich on the give and go. Woolston drives into the paint. Scoop shot. Yes! Again, that pin down play working wonders. As Rob Riesbeck will just call a timeout to get the subs in here. Of 4 subs coming in here for Layton. It's a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. And Zach, you really have to appreciate the fact that Lone Peak is getting their scoring in so many diverse ways here tonight, but especially from their starters, and I'm sure that's something that Nancy Warner would have wanted to see coming into a game like this.
It really sets up the rest of the season in a good way that if something were to happen injury-wise through the roster, that you can rely on others to back you up and have just, good depth across the board. Layton right now, coming into this last home stretch, they want a good play. They want a couple, maybe 2 good possessions right here. Be able to just walk away with confidence of knowing some things that they can improve upon, but also just a few more points on the board.
Final 37 seconds of this one. Alexander Timolip alongside Zach Hunter. Final 37 ready to go. Again, all the subs are in for both sides. Fredrickson dribbling, looking, picks up her dribble, gets it into the post. Nice little shot. That doesn't go. Nordstrom gets the rebound. Kennedy Woolston will take it. And that will do it. And they'll just run it back around the perimeter just to kill some clock. And with under 5 seconds to go, that'll do it. Lone Peak goes to 2-0 on the young season with a dominant performance here this evening. As the Lone Peak Knights started this game with a 15-2 run, and they never looked back. They'll play Ridgeline again on Friday as the fight song blares over the loudspeakers here at the Fieldhouse.
Just an overwhelming good performance by both teams. We see Lone Peak just constant possession, constant dominance over the boards. But Layton really did show great effort on the defense as well. And just good competition all around. And excited for what propels both teams to move forward at a very early start to the season.
Lone Peak goes to 2-0 on the season. Layton heads back up the road for another home game coming up on Friday night. And Zach, now time to name our Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game. Good luck, because there are a lot of choices here tonight, but who's one star that stood out to you tonight that gets our nod?
Honestly, I think Kennedy Woolston. She may not have had the most points on the board for the Knights, but we do see just constant reliance on the 3. She was consistent from the get-go. She was always there, involved in almost every play that she was in, and just was reliable across the board for the Knights. So I would give Player of the Game to Kennedy Woolston.
So, Zach, let's wrap this up now with one final thought on Lone Peak and what we talked about with Nancy Warner at the beginning. She wants to see the little things become a little bit more consistent. What things stood out to you tonight that impressed you the most about what Lone Peak can carry forward into their next game on Friday?
Yeah, I think those small and simple things would probably just be those turnovers. All the Knights across the board, all the athletes there, they did a good job of turning the ball over and converting those into points. And so that's one of those simple things that they're going to be like, hey, we did well. Let's focus on that. Let's remember this moment. Remember how we did this through the rest of the season. They're going to remember this game for a while.
Yes, but they don't have much time to dwell on it. They got Ridgeline coming in on Friday, a tough 4A test coming in for the two-time defending champs. Zach, that was fun. Enjoy your busy weekend. I'll enjoy my busy weekend down in North Carolina.
Yes, I'm excited. It's been a pleasure calling this game tonight, and excited for both teams to have a great rest of the season.
So Zach and I will be back sometime next week. Nathan Thatcher will take over duties for us on Friday. For Doug Jardine and the rest of our crew and Vince Francis back in Salt Lake, I'm Alexander Timolib. This has been another presentation of Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by Heidemann and Associates. The final score, once again, Lone Peak 87, Layton 27. For Zach Hunter, I'm Alexander Timolib. Aloha from Utah. Good night, and take care of one another until we meet again, everyone.